Good afternoon, folks, and thanks for joining us. My name is Tim Wheaton with MMA Sucka, and today we have a special guest. I am joined by the former Bellator World Champion and the NCAA Division I champion with North Carolina, the Wolf, Darrion Caldwell. Darrion, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Hanging out, the usual stuff. You got a fight coming up against Enrique Barzola January 29th at Bellator 273. Prepping for the upcoming fight. How is training coming along? How's the weight cut? How's everything?
Everything's going as planned. I feel sharp, so I've been, just enjoying the process.
I think enjoying the process, that's something that you were drilled in fairly early with your wrestling career. You've been wrestling since you were like in elementary school, and just that constant every day in the gym. This is my process. This is who I am. Am I wrong in that assumption?
Nah, that's where you're made. The process is where you're built. So finding comfort in there, is important because it's not a comfortable thing. It's not a comfortable place at all,
No, absolutely. Now, you've been in the MMA media. You've kind of been in the MMA sphere for quite a while now. What questions are you absolutely sick of being asked? Are there any questions in that timeline where you're like, man, I can't believe they're asking this one again or something like that?
Probably like if I'm a 35 or a 45, we all know, I'm ready to fight whoever at those weight classes. So whatever moved me closer to a strap, I jumped into that tournament because it was moving me closer to a strap, and now, I'm back at, my world championship weight class and one step closer to the strap, January 29th, Bellator 273.
It's going to be a big fight, but it's like King Mo Lawal used to say, it's like Daniel Cormier used to say, I fight on the money weight. Whatever they want to pay me, I'm fighting, right?
Factories. That's exactly what you call a money weight, man. Start.
Absolutely love it. You've been in wrestling your entire life. The story that I heard is that you had a kid in elementary class in a headlock and you slammed him, and the next day you were enrolled in wrestling. Is this story true, or what's the true story behind this?
Yeah, no, for real though. That's how it went down. My buddies, we was athletic kids growing up, doing backflips and stuff. Early age on trampolines, like 6, 7, or not trampolines, but like the dirty mattresses. Definitely didn't have no trampolines. We had the dirty mattresses at the projects, down the street, across the street at Madden Field. We would go over there. Literally, I would do things like jump off, those the cargo things where they, those big boxes.
Yeah. Like a shipping container kind of thing. Yeah.
Like when I was like 7, 6, 7, 8. I don't know what the hell I was doing it off there onto the beds, and that's where I learned like how to flip off things, This shit was crazy. But that's it, man,
It's just unbelievable, some of the stuff. Like that seems absolutely surreal. But I've also read that you claim that you can do a backflip on roller skates. And man, there's no way.
Yeah, for 100%. Before my little, I had like a little shoulder injury back in 2009.
You say a small shoulder injury, like it didn't change your career. Yeah, a small shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely changed my career, but we still moving forward and we still progress, despite how, for me, because that was, I couldn't even wrestle back when it happened, and so it kind of just took me all the way off course. I could have veered all the way left, but I just chose to stay straight with this thing, and so that's always gonna happen, It's always gonna be things that could take you off course, but during that process, you find out, you build this character, and depending on what you've made of yourself in that process determines whether you're gonna take that left or that right, or go straight.
And wrestling is particularly tough, and it particularly builds character. It builds strength in oneself. Do you find it more challenging? Do you find wrestling training more challenging, or do you find MMA training more challenging?
I find wrestling training probably more challenging, but the thing is about MMA is when you blend the two, it's hard, because to go from wrestling, I can do that all day. After I go wrestling and strike, it's a little bit different. And then you go straight to wrestling, it's a little bit different, So the blend is definitely takes time, you know. It takes some adjustments, you know. It takes time to get used to and be able to feel like you do when you're wrestling straight out, you know, to be able to put in that hands and wrestling.
And it's particularly tough in MMA because you're going from wrestling training in your past, going into MMA, and then you fight a huge diversity of opponents from really different characters. Like you fought Leandro Higo in the last fight. You have Barzola in your next fight at Bellator 273. How do you prepare for such a diversity of opponents? Or is it just, I know my game plan, I'm doing me? How do you prepare for that?
You got to stick to what you're good at, you know. Know what they're good at, but stick to what you're good at, you know. And so sharpening my tools, adding new tools, things that I think will work against guys like that. And so that's been important for me being here, you know. Like when I first came here, that fight against Higo, you know, wasn't a lot of film. I wasn't really watching much of myself and wasn't really doing the small detailed things like that, you know. I was just winning off pure skill and just the way my body moves, you know, when it's another person in front of me or, you know, we're tangled. But just those adjustments is just really making things a lot more bigger. Like it makes the vision bigger. I can see a lot more now rather than that the little dot can see a big dot now, you know? So
I'm with you. And you were an extremely standout wrestler. You, from your time in Rahway to your time in North Carolina, you were particularly good at wrestling. What set you apart from everybody else at that time?
It's my attitude, you know. My destiny is different than everybody else's, you know. It's not a lot of guys that can do what I'm about to do, you know, and that's lose a title and then come back and win another one, you know. And so that's just destiny, you know. It is going to take its course.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of destiny, you took a fight a few years ago in Ryzen. Do you prefer fighting in the ring, or do you prefer fighting in a cage, or do you not care at all? Whatever they're going to pay you.
Well, my style, I think it fits a cage better because I'm a pressure guy.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm a fight in a ring, I just got to do more training in it, you know. Got to be able to make those adjustments, you know, and you got to know what you're doing in that ring because it plays a factor. The ropes play a factor, so does the cage. So
it honestly feels like the cage. I want to talk about this with fighters rather than other MMA analysts and other MMA media members, but it seems like the cage is the more natural fit to mixed martial arts. You know what I mean? Of like, this seems like this is where fights are meant to take place. The ring, when you got people falling out of it and stuff like that, it just doesn't seem to fit. But maybe I'm wrong there. Am I way off, or what do you think?
I mean, the only time I want to see a fight stop really is if it's stopped or you got the round in between. I don't really want to see a fight stop for a stalemate. Like when you see a fight stopped, me and Horiguchi were literally in a stalemate position to where we had to stop. You know, like I wasn't letting him go. His arm wasn't breaking, and he stopped us. Like, you know, that. But I stayed in position. So I can imagine it being in the cage and the rolling and the transition and me being locked on there. You know, it being different. But because in a cage you can't. There's no stalemate. There's no stopping of the action. You know, what's going to stop the action? You know, there's no stalemates in the cage because there's nothing to go through. You know, there's nothing to slip through. There's no hideaway spots.
Well, yeah, I completely agree. And go ahead, man. Sorry to interrupt you.
Nah, they like hideaway spots, but some people are good at playing peekaboo, you know? Some people are good. Look at Ali. He used that rope to his advantage, you know? Like, you know, and it's not always, it's not a detriment. It might be to the person who don't know how to use it or a person getting to use it against them, but, you know, it could be a good thing, you know? But in terms of MMA, I don't think a fight should be fought inside of a ring over a cage, you know, because the action in boxing, the action doesn't, because they stay on their feet, wrestling, like so much grappling involved, it just makes things different, you know?
Oh, and I completely agree. And it's been a problem for forever in the sport. I remember Frank Shamrock saying that he got kicked and fell out of the ring. And even then they thought, well, this is fine. We're just going to keep the ring around. Like, but no, you see it's a problem. Why don't you guys do something about it? The cage is clearly better.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I think over time, but at, then again, there's always gonna be people who stuck in their ways who feel like their way is the best, So I like it the way it is, I don't mind fighting again inside the ring, I just feel like I got to do more preparation, because at the end of the day, even though we like it's new to me, it's probably new to him too, So it's just I don't know. Just gotta get used to it. Different techniques, different angles.
Different ball game altogether. I get what you're saying there. Now, in Ryzen, you had fought on the same card, and you mentioned boxing, you mentioned fighting in the ring. You had fought on the same card as Floyd Mayweather. In an interview with Luke Thomas a few years later, you said, I'd love to get in there with Floyd Mayweather. Is this still something down the line? Is there a call out you want to make? What do you think of this?
I mean, I still hold to that. Why not? He let YouTubers fight him. So, I'm still here to fight, legends. Like, I want to fight the best guys in the world. Floyd is still that, I get a few knockouts under my belt and get my title back. Why not? Why? No, I was on his undercard, or he was on mine, actually. He was on my undercard, to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, what the hell it was. He was on. Bro, seriously. I was just gassed up to be on his, on his card, be there and in his presence. It's a different feel when you're around Floyd. The energy is just, it almost feels magnetic. Like it's just different. So to be in that, I love to be able to train with him, whatever is clever, just to get some feels from like that, it's different levels, and he's levels, so that is.
Well, you're more qualified than a lot of people that he's called out in the last couple of years or has talked about fighting in the last couple of years. He's been taking the route of celebrity YouTube boxing, and that's kind of the trend. A lot of fighters have taken a look at celebrity YouTube boxing. However, if you were to take this route, is there a celebrity YouTuber or influencer or Instagrammer or someone like that you want to call out for a celebrity YouTube boxing fight?
Could it be another boxer?
Hell yeah, of course.
Boxer like Gervonta Davis. I say if he comes over to Bellator, me and Gervonta, have a nice scrap, and I mean, even if I go over to the boxing world, we have a nice scrap. I don't think the world has seen me with boxing gloves on, and so I think if we happen to tangle, man, it'd be something that people would be surprised to see, happy to see,
Dude, Gervonta Davis, I don't think anyone is calling out because of his fight style. Everyone's talking about like Ryan Garcia or even calling out like a Henry Cejudo or some YouTuber. You're like, no, Gervonta Davis is who I want to fight. That's a big deal, Mr. Caldwell.
Yeah. And I want the best guys in the world, and to me, he's the best, and I know he's been talking about coming over to Bellator, the UFC, dabbling into the MMA world, and, I'm the guy to give him that warm welcoming.
Man, let's set it up. I'll call Mr. Coker and we'll get it signed up. We'll get it set up for you, man.
Yeah, man, we need to make that happen.
I'm in. I am in. Okay, you've been treated quite well. Speaking of Coker, you've been treated very well in Bellator. You spent most of your career fighting in Bellator, paid well in Bellator. You're taken care of by this great organization. Is there, looking down the line, would you ever look at fighting in a one championship or a PFL or even a UFC down the future? Or are you a Bellator loyalist to the end?
I'm a Bellator loyalist until they say DC, it's just not just, wait, I'm getting a call.
Do your thing.
They say, DC, you've done your time here, but I'm fresh, I'm healthy. I still got a lot of fights in me. So my goal is to stay here in Bellator, get that strap around that strap around my waist again one more time. I need that one more time,
Absolutely. It's a great goal. Is the camera working? We got you back. Yeah. I love it. There you go. Looking good. No, I checked you out earlier. I always like to check artists. I love talking music, and I checked your music taste earlier today. I saw on Instagram you have a great taste in music. You were following Benny the Butcher, Chloe Bailey, Eminem, Eric B, Wu-Tang Clan. What was your formative music, and then what's on your playlist today?
You know, growing up in the 2003s, 2000 era, you know, G Unit, you know, 50 Cent really played a big part on my mentality, you know. Get rich or die trying, you know, like his art of war, just like his thinking is just like his thought process is just like he's a go-getter, and he's gonna go until he can't no more, you know. So that's why I really listened to 50 growing up, you know. That was me. Like I'm a go-getter. I'm gonna just go until I can't no more, you know, till these wheels fall off. But right now, I really just listen to a lot of like West Coast music. Same, like if we're talking like people like up to date, like new artists and stuff like that. I was on the West Coast for like the last 10 years, so you know I've been big on like West Coast artists like Nipsey, freaking guys you probably wouldn't know, like All Black, you know, YGs, and just West Coast rap, you know. That's what I'll be listening.
I'm with you 100%. Now, get Richard. Yeah, go ahead, man. Sorry.
Yeah. Most people don't even know the names of the people I listen to, just because it's more of a California thing. You know, it's more of an in-house thing. You know, so if you haven't, you know, been in California for some time, you probably won't even know. You know.
That's absolutely true. I'm a guy who's like, man, I'm kind of into hip hop. I pride myself on knowing hip hop. And then you mentioned some artists, and I'm like, I don't know who those guys are. But it is absolutely true. Listening to Get Rich or Die Trying, back when we were like the same age, Get Rich or Die Trying was like a reset of, this is it for the next couple of years. This is like what gangster rap, this is the tone that we're going to be doing for a few years now, because this is like the perfect style. And I feel like a few years later, you had to pick in hip hop of like which style you're going for. And it was 50 Cent and there was Kanye West, and they had an album coming out on the same day. Who were you? Were you more of a Kanye guy, or were you more of a 50 Cent guy?
50, you know. I'm a 50 guy through and through, bro. I've been rocking with 50 early days, you know. And he's one of those guys that transitioned well, you know. He transitioned from the music scene to, you know, the TV scene, you know, doing this thing over there. So definitely a good role model, and you know, his music is great taste.
Oh man, absolutely love it, especially in hindsight. I mean, you're looking at hip hop today and then look back at 50, and I'm like, oh man, that stuff's still really good. Like, this is aged well, right?
Yeah, nah, for sure. Classics forever.
Absolutely. There's some new stuff out this year. So guys like Corday, Nas, Weekend, anything like that you're listening to in the last little while?
Yeah, you know, I'm listening to Lil Durk, you know, Durkio, G Herbo. I'm listening to a little Swervo, you know. Meek Mill's always on my playlist. You know,
he's always got some, right?
You know, he always got some pretty good messages. But then I start going back in the day to classic, you know, R&Bs, you know. So you can find anybody like Usher on my playlist, or, you know, like Carl Thomas type. Like you never know. Like I just got classics on my joint. If it hit, then I'm probably on it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely love Usher, because you know, with people our age, if it's like Usher is playing at the club, this is everybody's up. This is like, you know, Usher's absolutely awesome. It sounds like a high school dance to me.
That's funny. Yeah, no, for sure. He definitely had hits in his days, you know. So it's always good to go throw some classics on, you know, that we could just vibe to, you know.
Now, we always want to get to know you a little bit more. We talk music a little bit. In the MMA industry, there's tons of guys who have signature brands, signature wine, signature tequila, signature hot sauces, whatever it might be. If there's a Darrion Caldwell signature brand, what would your signature brand be?
Caldwell Friendship Club.
Tell me more about this.
Well, I've always loved French Bulldogs, you know. So like I actually got I bought my first French Bulldog with an ex, and then once we split and she took him, you know, I was just like, no, I can't, nah. They was like, I like the breed, the way he was, you know, the way he had so much energy. He was just able to be in the house running around with us. I was just like, man, I gotta have another French Bulldog. So I, you know, fell in love with him, you know, back like 2016. And so I've had Bulldogs since. And, you know, over the course of time, I just like, we've had our dogs have periods, and I'm like, man, like, let me try this. You know, it'd be cool to create my own Frenchie, like, you know, like to be able to like create one with the spots, you know, like to go with this one with this face, you know, so to be able to create something, you know, is a cool feeling, you know. So that was the idea, is to be able to create as many French Bulldogs as I can, you know, that, and the cool thing about it is like, it's so many perks, you know. We just had our first litter, you know, so we did our first litter, and when you are giving them, or you know, you're giving these dogs to these families, is a whole different element to it now, because now you see like how much joy they bring other people, and not just you. You feel me? So now it's like, dang, like I just made this person so happy, you know. Well, not me, there's a dog, but you know, we produced this. We had to go out and find this dog to match with this dog, you know. So it's a real process, you know. And so it's something I enjoy. It's something that I like learning about, you know. And then I get to have cute Frenchies in my face all day. So
I wouldn't expect a French Bulldog, but I think I see behind you. Is that their crate just behind you there?
Yeah. So I had the last one here with me for me, and he's left, you know. But they pretty set up over here, you know. They love life. They get to run around in the backyard, working on a little creating a little dog park on the side of the house, you know. So with a little jungle gym, you know. So because I have so many, it's harder to get to a dog park, you know. It's hard to control like 6-7 dogs at a dog park, as opposed to they already got friends. They like each other, you know. They fight with each other. They play with each other, and so create a dog park right here. They do their thing here, you know.
Mr. Caldwell, that is the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life. So I've talked to breeders in the past, because we like back in my hometown, some of my friends were buying dogs, and they bought different kinds of dogs. And some breeders really take their time to talk to the people of like, do you have the right yard space? Do you have a household that can keep up with this dog? Or do you have children that would really help with this dog? It seems like a lot of breeders really, you're not just selling puppies. You're trying to find the right home, making sure the people make sense for the dog. And it seems like you're putting a lot of care into these puppies. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You know, I would much rather, to put it in perspective, give my dog away, no charge, to someone who's going to take care of him, as opposed to someone who's going to pay a shit ton of money and neglect them and not really like love them, you know? So they're just an extended family of us, you know? So extended part of our family. So that's all. That's how I see it. And I enjoy brightening people's days up with these puppies. Like, you know, like it's still feeling.
Man, I think it would be absolutely incredible to buy. Let us know, let the listeners know when you got your next litter going, because I don't think anyone would believe me to be like, yeah, bought my dog from a Bellator champion. What the F are you talking about, man? No, you didn't.
Yeah, we got reviews. You know, we got our Instagram page going, we got our Facebook page growing, and we do have reviews, and it's real time, real people. You know, we show updates of our dogs. You can find us at Caldwell Frenchie Club. You know, so which is kind of cool. You know, CFC,
CFC,
you know, BFC. You know, like, you know, it's like kind of catchy, I guess. Caldwell Frenchie Club. But yeah, Caldwell Frenchie Club. Check us out. You know, if you ever want a French Bulldog, or you know, just interested in information about them, we're always here to, you know, help.
Man, I think that's the best answer I've got. I've got other people who are like, marijuana or like underwear, but no, French Bulldogs, that is absolutely the best, man. I'm going to quickly we're going to switch to MMA. A couple more questions for you, and then I'll let you go, sir. Was there a fighter who was your biggest inspiration for getting into MMA?
It's a lot of ways to find inspiration, but for getting into MMA, honestly, it was all of the wrestlers that I seen doing well, like Daniel Cormier, Chad Mendez, when he was making his reign 2 years into him starting his career, he fighting Jose Aldo, my first experience of MMA, I'm at Daniel Cormier's house 10 days before he's about to fight Josh Barnett for the Strikeforce title, which really just put his chase, and so changed his career, like that fight really took DC over the top. I'm like, damn, bro, this guy really is the truth. I didn't know he was the truth, but I knew he was the truth, but I didn't know he was the truth, and seeing things like that, was definitely very motivating, having guys like Ryan Bader to, who I'm on his card, which is even better, cool people. It's like, this is my big brother, where I started my career with Ryan, so having guys like that as mentors and seeing them is just, that was it, that was that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, I'm fighting.
And so you're looking up at guys like Ryan Bader, Daniel Cormier, really amazing, ambitious fighters. But you've been with the Bader family. Am I wrong in remembering that there was an extension quite a while ago that you were working with the Bader family in wrestling as well? Or is it a different Bader family you were working with, like in Flow Wrestling or something like that?
Yeah, Mark Bader. Mark Bader is a flow wrestling guy. He took Flow. He took Flow from nothing to one of the biggest wrestling platforms in the world right now. I watched his hard work and dedication. So that, it's coincidence. Me and Bader, I got a couple Baders in my circle.
Gotcha. I'm going to put all your social links down below. I'll do a quick couple of shout outs. My name is Tim Wheaton with Tim Wheaton MMA. You can check me out on Instagram and Twitter. We are MMA Sucka. Today we are sitting down with the future Bellator champion, Darrion Caldwell. He is fighting Enrique Barzola January 29th at Bellator 273. Now you get the last word here. Tell the people where they can find more of you, what you got going on in your life. Tell us everything.
I just want to thank, my sponsors, Get Biofuel, American Ethanol, Oak Grove, Sanford Orthopedic, Sanford MMA gym here, Takedown Apparel. And honestly, this is going to be the biggest year that you've seen from me, 2022 going into, my championship year is going to be real fun. So I'm excited.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. We look forward to your fight and best of luck.